dear devotees. Thank you, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, and a very warm welcome to all of you for this session. Happy Ekadashi. Thank you, Vishal Prabhu, for such soulful kirtan and spreading all auspiciousness with the holy names of the Lord. So, quickly, I'll just share my screen. So, is my screen visible, Prabhu?
Yeah, now it's visible, but we can see the whole PowerPoint. Yeah,
Yeah, only the PowerPoint, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. So, 1 second. Okay. So, let's go to the recap what we have done previously in the last sessions. So, teachings of Kapila, Lord Kapila is the last section of Canto 3. From the previous chapters, we completed Kardama Muni's life and started with teachings of Lord Kapila. From previous chapters, we were seeing various teachings that Lord Kapila was speaking to Devahuti. So in chapter 26th and chapter 27th, he was talking about Sankhya Yoga, which was wonderfully explained by Samaksh Prabhu and Jagannath Gopal Prabhu. Today we are we are going to discuss about chapter 28, which is titled as Instructions on the Execution of Devotional Service. I would like to invite devotees to kindly come forward and read the translation. So we have around 44 verses. So any three devotees can come forward and read 15 verses each. One second. 1 second, Sundari Sakhi Mataji. I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, I see Sundari Sakhi Mataji, Nitya Kishori Mataji, and Vallabh Chaitanya Prabhu. So I'll just open up. Okay, so you can start.
I can't see the verses.
No,
can't
you
see
can
that
see.
screen, Mataji. So maybe you have to stop sharing and share again.
Okay, fine, Prabhu. Can you see now?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can see now.
Okay.
1 to 15, right?
Yeah, 1 to 15.
Okay. Kapila's instructions on the execution of devotional service. The personality of Godhead said, "My dear mother, O daughter of the king, now I shall explain to you the system of yoga, the object of which is to concentrate the mind. By practicing this system, one can become joyful and progressively advance towards the path of the absolute truth. One should execute his prescribed duties to the best of his ability and avoid performing duties not allotted to him. One should be satisfied with as much gain as he receives by the grace of the Lord, and one should worship the lotus feet of a spiritual master. One should cease performing conventional religious practices and should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. One should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life. One should practice non-violence and truthfulness, should avoid thieving and be satisfied with possessing as much as he needs for his maintenance. He should abstain from sex life, perform austerity, be clean, study the Vedas, and perform and worship the supreme form of the personality of Godhead. One must observe silence, acquire steadiness by practicing different yogic postures, control the breathing of the vital air, withdraw the senses from sense objects and thus concentrate the mind on the heart. Fixing the vital air and the mind in one of the six circles of vital air circulation within the body, thus concentrating one's mind on the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called samadhi or samadhana of the mind. By these processes or any other two process, one must control the contaminated, unbridled mind, which is always attracted by material enjoyment, and thus fix himself in the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After controlling one's mind and sitting postures, one should spread a seat in a secluded and sanctified place, sit there in an easy posture, keep the body erect, and practice breath control. The yogi should clear the passage of vital air by breathing in the following manner. First, he should inhale very deeply, then hold the breath in, and finally exhale. Or reversing the process, the yogi can first exhale, then hold the breath outside, and finally inhale. This is done so that the mind may become steady and free from external disturbances. The yogis who practice such breathing exercises are very soon freed from all mental disturbances, just as gold, when put into fire and fanned with air, becomes free from all impurities. By practicing the process of pranayam, one can eradicate the contamination of his physiological condition, and by concentrating the mind, one can become free from all sinful reactions. By restraining the senses, one can free himself from material association, and by meditating on the supreme personality of Godhead, one can become free from the three modes of material attachment. When the mind is perfectly purified by this practice of yoga, one should concentrate on the tip of the nose with closed eyes and see the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has a cheerful, lotus like countenance with ruddy eyes like the interior of a lotus and a swarthy body like the petals of a blue lotus. He bears a conch, discus, and mace in three of his hands. His loins are covered by a shining cloth, yellowish like the filaments of a lotus. On his breast, he bears the mark of Srivatsa, a curl of white hair. The brilliant Kaustubha gem is suspended from his neck. He also wears around his neck a garland of attractive sylvan flowers, and a swarm of bees, intoxicated by its delicious fragrance, hums about the garland. He is further superbly adorned with a pearl necklace, a crown, and pairs of armlets, bracelets, and anklets.
Thank you, Sundari Sakhi Mataji. Kishori Mataji from text
Yes, ma'am.
16 to 30. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Sure. His loins and hips encircled by a girdle, he stands on the lotus of his devotee's heart. He is most charming to look at, and his serene aspect gladdens the eyes and souls of the devotees who behold him. The Lord is eternally very beautiful, and he is worshipable by all the inhabitants of every planet. He is ever youthful and always eager to bestow his blessing upon his devotees. The glory of the Lord is always worth singing, for his glories enhance the glories of his devotees. One should therefore meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead and upon his devotees. One should meditate on the eternal form of the Lord until the mind becomes fixed. Thus, always merged in devotional service, the yogi visualizes the Lord standing, moving, lying down, or sitting with him. For the pastimes of the Supreme Lord are always beautiful and attractive. In fixing the mind on the eternal form of the Lord, the yogi should not take a collective view of all his limbs, but should fix the mind on each individual limb of the Lord. The devotee should first concentrate his mind on the Lord's lotus feet, which are adorned with the marks of a thunderbolt, a gourd, a banner, and a lotus. The splendor of their beautiful ruby nails resembles the orb of the moon and dispels the thick gloom of one's heart. The blessed Lord Shiva becomes all the more blessed by bearing on his head the holy waters of the Ganges, which has its source in the water that washed the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord's feet act like thunderbolts hurled to shatter the mountain of sin stored in the mind of the meditating devotee. One should therefore meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time. The yogi should fix in his heart the activities of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all demigods and is a mother of the Supreme Person Brahma. She can always be found massaging the legs and thighs of the transcendental Lord, very carefully serving him in this way. Next, the yogi should fix his mind in meditation on the personality of Godhead's thighs, the storehouse of all energy. The Lord's thighs are whitish blue, like the luster of a linseed flower, and appear most graceful when the Lord is carried on the shoulders of Garuda. Also, the yogi should contemplate his rounded hips, which are encircled by a girdle that rests on an exquisite yellow silk cloth that extends down to his ankles. The yogi should then meditate on his moon like navel in the center of his abdomen. From his navel, which is the foundation of the entire universe, sprang the lotus stem containing all different planetary systems. The lotus is the residence of Brahma, the first created being. In the same way, the yogi should concentrate on his mind on the Lord's nipples, which resemble a pair of the most exquisite emeralds and which appear whitish because of the rays of the milk white pearl necklaces adorning his chest. The yogi should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of Goddess Mahalakshmi. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi should then imprint on his mind the neck of the personality of Godhead, who's adored by the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves to enhance the beauty of the Kaustuba gem, which hangs on his chest. The yogi should further meditate upon the Lord's four arms, which are the source of all the powers of the demigods who control the various functions of material nature. Then the yogi should concentrate on the polished ornaments which were burnished by Mount Mandara as it revolved. He should also duly contemplate the Lord's discus, the Sudarshan Chakra, which contains 1,000 spokes and a dazzling luster, as well as the conch, which looks like a swan in his lotus-like palm. The yogi should meditate upon his club, which is named Kaumodaki and is very dear to him. This club smashes the demons, who are always inimical soldiers, and is smeared with their blood. It is smeared with their blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland on the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees with their nice buzzing sound. And one should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. The yogi then should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, who presents his different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent, and his crystal clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillation of his glittering alligator-shaped earrings. The yogi then meditates upon the beautiful face of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hair and decorated by lotus like eyes and dancing eyebrows. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by his elegance.
Thank you, Nitya Kishori Mataji. Vallabh Chaitanya Prabhu, you can finish the chapter.
Yes, Haribol. The yogis should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes, for they soothe the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. His glances, accompanied by lovely smiles, are full of abundant grace. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari, a smile which, for all those who bow to him, dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his eternal potency in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. With devotion steeped in love and affection, the yogi should meditate within the core of his heart upon the laughter of Lord Vishnu. The laughter of Vishnu is so captivating that it can be easily meditated upon. When the Supreme Lord is laughing, one can see his small teeth, which resemble jasmine buds, rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. Once devoting his mind to this, the yogi should no longer desire to see anything else. By following this course, the yogi gradually develops pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. In the course of his progress in devotional service, the hairs on his body stand erect through excessive joy, and he is constantly bathed in a stream of tears occasioned by intense love. Gradually, even the mind, which he used as a means to attract the Lord, as one attracts a fish to a hook, withdraws from material activity. When the mind is thus completely freed from all material contamination and detached from material objectives, it is just like the flame of a lamp. At that time, the mind is actually dovetailed with that of the Supreme Lord and is experienced as one with Him because it is freed from the interactive flow of the material qualities. Thus, situated in the highest transcendental stage, the mind ceases from all material reaction and becomes situated in its own glory, transcendental to all material conceptions of happiness and distress. At that time, the yogi realizes the truth of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He discovers that pleasure and pain, as well as the interactions which he attributed to his own self, are actually due to the false ego, which is a product of ignorance. Because he has achieved his real identity, the perfectly realized soul has no conception of how the material body is moving or acting, just as an intoxicated person who cannot understand whether or not he has clothing on his body. The body of such a liberated yogi, along with the senses, is taken charge of by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it functions until its destined activities are finished. The liberated devotee, being awake to his constitutional position and thus situated in samadhi, the highest perfectional stage of yoga, does not accept byproducts of the material body as his own. Thus, he considers his bodily activities to be like the activities of a body in a dream. Because of the great affection for the family and wealth, one accepts a son and some money as his own, and due to affection for the material body, one thinks that it is his. But actually, as one can understand that his family and wealth are different from him, the liberated soul can understand that he and his body are not the same. The blazing fire is different from the flames, from the sparks, from the smoke, although all are intimately connected because they are born from the same blazing wood. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Param Brahma, is the seer. He is different from the Jiva soul or individual living entity who is combined with the senses, the five elements, and consciousness. A yogi should see the same soul in all manifestations, for all that exists in a manifestation of different energies of the Supreme. In this way, the devotee should see all living entities without distinction. That is realization of the Supreme Soul. As fire is exhibited in different forms of wood, so under different conditions of the modes of material nature, the pure spirit soul manifests itself in different bodies. Thus, the yogi can be in the self-realized position after conquering the insurmountable spell of Maya, who presents herself as both the cause and effect of the material manifestation and is therefore very difficult to understand. Hari
Thank
Bol.
you, Manjulika Mataji. Hari Bol.
Thank
Thank you all, dear devotees, for reading the translation of this chapter. So I'll stop sharing. We will chant the Mangalacharan. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. One second. I'm sharing my screen again. Okay. So can you see my screen, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, yes. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you all dear devotees for giving me this opportunity to lead this chapter, especially on this auspicious occasion of Ekadashi. Before I begin, I would like to seek blessings from all the devotees so that I can speak in Guru Parampara. So, because this is my first class, I will keep it very simple, and my questions also will be extremely simple. And I will try my level best to answer all the questions, but would request all senior devotees to correct me if at all I fail to answer any question. So, let's begin. We are already done with the recap. So, the name of the chapter is Instructions on the Execution of Devotional Service. So, here we see that the first 1 to 12 verses, we are going to see and understand different limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga means 8 limbs or angas. These are the 8 limbs we are going to see in this chapter from verse 1 to 12 that Lord Kapila describes it to Devahuti. In the process of Ashtanga Yoga, there is a step called Dharana. And we see this Dharana from 13 to 18, which can also be understood as broken meditation. And that is not very deep. In Dharana, there is an object of meditation. 13 to 18 verse, we will be understanding what is the yogi going to meditate upon. That object of meditation we will be describing from verses 13 to 18. Next, we will see dhyana in detailed meditation, which is the detailed meditation. It's also an absorbed meditation or deep meditation. The overall form of Lord will be described in 13 to 18, and particulars of the Lord's form will be described from 19 to 33. After meditating in this way, what happens to the yogi, what happens to his mind, and how he achieves liberation will be seen in verses 34 to 38. Also, once he is liberated while living, when his mind is completely purified and is situated in that platform, what is going to be the thought process of the yogi? How does he think? And that will be described towards the end of the particular chapter from verse 39 to 44. So, this is how the chapter or the session is going to be categorized. Moving forward. So, a very simple question. When you see these two photographs, I would like devotee to just unmute themselves. And if you can tell me what similarity do you see in these two pictures? You can just unmute and speak.
Both are sitting in a yogic posture.
Okay. Correct, Prabhuji.
Both are meditating.
Okay. Perfect, Prabhuji. Thank you. Anyone else?
They seem to be in an environment, they seem to be surrounded by greenery.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Any more answers? Okay. So I move forward. All your answers were correct. Now, the next question to you is, what difference do you see in these practices?
One is meditating on Brahman and one is meditating on Paramatma.
Yes, Prabhu, absolutely correct. So Prabhu has given the correct final answer. So I'll move forward. So Lord Kapil Dev will also explain the object of meditation, and that is none other than the Supreme Lord. So what is the objective of yoga? The main objective of yoga is to meditate our mind on an object. Different people will meditate upon different objects. Like we see that there are people who meditate upon stars or candles, different bodily limbs, in between eyebrows. Sometimes they meditate upon ocean, sky, etc. But here we see the Bhakti Mishra Ashtang Yogi, which is mentioned in this particular chapter by Lord Kapila, focuses his attention on the form of the Supreme Lord. That's what he's saying that he will explain in this chapter. So, in this entire chapter, we are going to understand what is Bhakti Mishra Ashtang Yoga. This is the main topic, and it is going to explain Ashtanga Yoga, which includes the elements of bhakti into it. Hence, this Ashtanga Yoga is Bhakti Mishra Ashtanga Yoga. In this chapter, Lord Kapila will be describing the meditation of the Ashtanga Yoga system in detail, by which the yogis achieve liberation by the mercy of the Lord. This kind of yogi achieves his goal much better than other yogis because he has bhakti included into it. So that's why the system is called as Bhakti Mishra Ashtanga Yoga. Moving forward, so we all devotees, like we know that these are the limbs of Ashtanga Yoga from Yama to Samadhi, and these are like Yama, Niyama, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar. It's not Dharma, it's Dharana. Sorry, it's a typo mistake. Dhyana and Samadhi. So we will see each one in particular section. So in yoga text also it is mentioned that in order to progress in higher stages, like after Pratyahara, these are all the higher stages. The lower stages before Pratyahara, that is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, they need that the lower stages needs to be perfected. Otherwise, there will always be downfall because mind will constantly remain agitated during meditation. So we will see about Yama Niyama and how it is explained by Lord Kapila in this chapter. So from verse 2 to 4, we see Yamas and Niyamas, the do's and the don'ts. So he has mentioned all of these, like satisfied by what is achieved by Lord's grace, worshipping the lotus feet of spiritual master, attracted to those who leads us to salvation, eating very frugally, always remaining in secluded place, non-violence, truthfulness, refraining from theft and possessing only whatever is necessary, celibacy, austerity, cleanliness, study of Vedas, worshipping the Supreme Lord, and I can't see this, maintaining silence. Yeah. So these are the list of yamas and niyamas, and these are explained from verse 2 to 4. Moving forward. So we all know here about asana and pranayam, which is famous all over the world. So many a times people equate yoga with only asana and only pranayam. Like only asana and pranayam, people say that this is yoga. So again, a very simple question, and I'm pretty much sure most of you already know the answer. What do you think? What may be the objective of asana? You can unmute and speak.
To control mind.
Sorry?
To control mind.
Okay, to control mind. Yes, correct, Prabhu. Anybody else?
We force by practicing like physical asanas, we actually uh, force oxygen in various parts of the body. So it basically like you're spreading oxygen everywhere, and it also adds.
Perfect, perfect. So you are saying that the main objective would be like spreading oxygen all over the body. Yes, absolutely correct. Anyone else wants to try?
Um, it reduces stress
Okay, perfect,
and
Mataji.
it
Yeah.
also calms our mind.
Ha ha ha. Yes, acceptable, Mataji. Yes. Anybody else wants to try? Or I can go.
Increasing the strength of our bodies for our sadhana so that our body remains healthy and we can focus on sadhana.
Perfect, perfect, Prabhu. That will be beneficial so for our sadhana. Correct, Prabhu. Anybody else?
It can also improve concentration.
Okay, okay,
Uh,
correct.
Yeah.
Anybody else wants to try? Okay, okay. So yeah, so all whatever you have, all the answers are correct, whatever you have mentioned. The next I would like to ask, because I'm going to also present what are the objectives mentioned in our chapter as well as from other yoga text. So can anybody tell me what would be the objective of practicing pranayam?
Physical fitness.
Physical fitness. Correct, Prabhuji?
Controlling the breath leads to control of the mind to
Perfect,
some
perfect,
extent.
perfect. So mind and breath is connected. So if we control the breath, we can also control the mind. Perfect. Anyone else? Okay, so I'm moving forward. So basically, asan is explained as something like once you master the asanas, you can achieve bodily stability. You can achieve steadiness in your body. And by doing asanas, they will achieve bodily stability. So this is the objective that is mentioned. And then comes pranayam. Here, the breath is controlled, vital air is controlled. The practitioner can attain control over his body and later he can meditate. Again, very simple question. So I can see over here objective like purification of body and free from mental disturbances. So this seems to be the objective of asana and pranayam. So having good physical and mental health is like very much required, but it is still a byproduct of yoga system. So I would like to ask final question to all of you. Do you think these practices are the main goal of the yoga system?
No.
Okay, no.
Of the which type of yoga system?
This type of yoga system where people are performing or practicing only asana and pranayam. Is this the main goal?
No, Mataji.
Achieving
Main
bodily
goal,
stability and getting free from mental disturbances. Are these the main goals?
No, Mataji, because both are related to body.
Yes, perfect, Prabhuji. So both are related to body. So the goal of life can never be maintaining just good physical health. A goal of life can always be something that is higher than just body. And here we are talking about inquiring about soul and super soul or their relationship. So, as rightly said by many devotees, asana and pranayam are steps to the main goal as per Ashtanga Yoga explained by Lord Kapila. And even yoga texts like Patanjali Yoga Sutra and Hatha Yoga Pradipika, they also confirm with these objectives. Like I was just going through like Sage Patanjali and Swami Swatmaram, who are the revered yogis. they say that the objective of asana and pranayam is to prepare body and mind for meditation and spiritual practice. That was the main objective. We practice all of this so that we can prepare ourselves for the meditation and the higher spiritual practices. Next, if the person is getting distracted by his senses, he won't be able to meditate. So after asana and pranayam comes pratyahara. So for this reason, his senses have to be shut or rather withdrawn. In pratyahara, he takes away his senses away from unnecessary things and gradually starts to concentrate in his heart. He tries to remove himself from material objects as much as possible. Prati ahara means reducing the food. Food is not just eating that happens, but food is also the object that we see. Food is also the object that we see. Food is also the object that we hear. Food is also the object that we can touch. All the senses that serves as inputs are reduced so that mind is not disturbed and he can focus his mind. So Srila Prabhupada has mentioned this in his lectures that pratyahara means that you have withdrawn the sensual activities inside. When you withdraw your senses for inside activities, that is Krishna consciousness. So can anybody tell me what example he has given to describe pratyahara? I'm sure everyone knows this. It's a very famous example. He has given an example to describe pratyahara. It's also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita.
The tortoise.
Yes, perfect, Prabhuji. So here we see tortoise. So gradually, as one progresses in pratyahara, naturally his mind is able to focus on one spot by mind. So here, this is something I got from the purports of Srila Prabhupada. The example is just like the tortoise. The tortoise can wind up all these parts of the limbs of the body within immediately. And when it is required, he can expand. So pratyahara means that you have to withdraw the sensual activities inside. When you withdraw your senses for inside activities, that is Krishna consciousness, that is Krishna consciousness. So moving further. So here we get to see that pratyahara means just the opposite. Prati ahara, it means just the opposite. Now the senses, my eyes are engaged in seeing the worldly beauty. Now I have to retract from enjoying that beauty and I have to see inside the beauty. And that is called as pratyahara. So in pratyahara, the yogi does exactly the opposite of what the senses are meant for. So if we see in Ashtanga Yoga, they will always recommend to shut down your senses completely. You have to restrain your senses, shutting down your senses. But Srila Prabhupada will always encourage us to engage our senses in devotional service, which seems to be more practical. So many yogis just think to give up the material beauty and say that all this material beauty is just nonsense and I will divert my mind from material beauty. So let me completely focus on void. There are many yogis who focuses only on void so that they are not diverted to material beauty. So, but it's not possible to sustain this kind of focus. Mind should always be diverted to something which is more beautiful and in fact which is most beautiful. And we find that rising up to Brahman platform, which is impersonal feature of the Lord, because they neglect the beauty of the Supreme Lord, once again they fall down to this material world. Great yogis, again and again, their mind gets diverted to false material beauty. So, here in this chapter, again, we see that Lord Kapila, right from the beginning, has explained that Ashtanga Yoga is actually part of Vaishnava practice, but we don't practice it today because it is not possible to practice it today. More better is our devotional practices like we have Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Ashtanga Yoga is not for impersonal realization, and it is meant for meditating in core of heart upon Supreme Lord, who resides in every living entities. So moving forward. So far we have seen like yama, niyama, objectives of asana, pranayam. We also saw pratyahara. Dharana. So here when we say dharana, again, it's not dharma, it's dharana. By dharana, the yogi will start destroying his sins. Basically, he tries to focus on Lord. So gradually his sins are reduced. In dharana, the yogi will focus on the overall form of the Lord. And definitely we are going to see this next. In dhyana, what a yogi does is he becomes completely free from the influence of material nature. And in dhyana, the yogi will focus on the individual limbs of the form. So that is the difference between dharana and dhyana. In dharana, the yogi will focus on the overall form of the Lord. And in dhyana, the yogi will focus on the individual limbs of the Lord's form. Next, in Samadhi, that was mentioned in the chapter, here the yogi is concentrating his mind on the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is called as Samadhi. And now we know that there are many Lord's pastimes, including the Battle of Kurukshetra and some historical facts relating to life of devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, and Amrish Maharaj. One need to concentrate his mind on such narration and become always absorbed in the thoughts of Lord. Then he will be in Samadhi. So these are the words of Srila Prabhupada, that Samadhi is not an artificial bodily state. It is the state achieved when the mind is virtually absorbed in thoughts of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the first to 12th verse, we saw that Lord Kapila Dev is explaining in brief about what is Ashtanga Yoga. Next. So if you see at the left side, here you will see, one second. Here you will see the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs. And here we see Navada Bhakti, the 9 processes of the devotional services. So I have a very simple question, maybe devotees can answer. So which activity in Navada Bhakti is similar to dhyana? So you can see dhyana over here is meditation or contemplation. So which activity out of these 9 processes, you can say that it is similar to this dhyana?
Smaranam.
Okay. Okay. I will say whether it is yes or no. Maybe I want more devotees to answer.
Nupur in the chat also says Smaranam.
Okay.
A question
Okay.
mark.
Okay. So you all are correct. So the third limb of Navada Bhakti, which is Smaranam, is the 7th Anga in Ashtanga Yoga. In Navada Bhakti, Smaranam comes third after Shravanam and Kirtanam. In Ashtanga Yoga, Smaranam is similar to Dhyan in Ashtanga Yoga. In Ashtanga Yoga, their idea is to attain liberation. So these are the yogis who follow Ashtanga Yoga. Their idea is to attain liberation. And that's why they are meditating upon Supreme Lord. But if we see in Navada Bhakti, when a devotee will do Smaranam, they do it precisely to develop devotional relationship with the God. So the difference is clear. Here the yogi is practicing all of this. Even the Bhakti Mishra Ashtanga Yogi, they do this for liberation. And here they are in Navada Bhakti, that is the devotees, they do it to establish relationship with the Lord. So here, Lord Kapila Dev is going to describe the Lord's form, which will be beneficial for both the devotees and yogis. So now we will start with Dharana stage, where Lord's form will be described, and that description will be beneficial not only for the bhaktas but also for the yogis. The idea is different in both the processes. Here, the yogi will do it for the sake of liberation, and here the devotee will meditate to achieve relationship with the Supreme Lord. So I'll move to the next section. Here the section, it is from verse 13 to 18, description of Lord's form for performing dharana. So this is broken meditation, but here we are going to meditate upon the overall form of the Lord. And it's a very sweet section where Lord's form will be described. So everyone will get benefit of meditating upon Lord's form, since today is also Ekadashi. So we will recite the Sanskrit verses and I will describe the verses. So we will go verse by verse. If any devotee, if they want to recite this particular verse, they can just unmute and they can recite the verse.
Can I recite, Mataji?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
प्रसन्नवदनाम्भोजं पद्मगर्भारुणेक्षणं नीलोत्पलधनश्यामं शङ्खचक्रगदाधरम्.
Thank you, Lekha Mataji. So here the Supreme Lord's face is cheerful, like happy, and his eyes are slightly reddish, like lotus petal at the corner, and his body looks like petal of blue lotus. Supreme Lord holds conch shell, disc, mace, and a lotus in his hands. His face is very cheerful. Here it is mentioned as Prasanna Vadanam Bhujam, which means his face is extremely pleasing and cheerful. Shama is the color of the blue lotus. So his bodily hue is like the color of the blue lotus. So this verse speaks on the Lord's attributes. We'll go to the next verse. So any one of the devotee can unmute and recite this particular verse.
लसत् पंकज किंजल्का पीतकौशेयवाससं श्रीवत्सवक्षसं भ्राजत् कौस्तुभामुक्त कंधरम.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. So Supreme Lord's, here it's explaining that Supreme Lord's waist is covered with a shining cloth, yellowish like the filaments of the lotus. Pitambar, which is yellow in color. They both look bright yellow in color like the filaments of the lotus. And on his chest, he wears the marks of Shri Vatsa, which is a mark of goddess Lakshmi Devi. And a brilliant Kaustuba gem is suspended from his neck. So we'll move to the next verse.
Shall I recite, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, go on, go on.
Mattadvirepa kalaya haritam vanamalaya Bharajyahara Valaya Kiritangada Nupuram.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. So what all he is wearing, his beautiful ornaments are explained in this verse. Supreme Lord is wearing garland on his neck with attractive flowers, which is like the combination of different forest flowers. And because of the fragrance of the garland, the swarm of bees are around the garland, intoxicated by its fragrance. He is wearing pearl necklace. We can see a pearl necklace, crown, pair of armlets, bracelets, and anklets, Nupuram. We will go to the next verse. We have 3 more verses. So any devotee can unmute and can recite.
I can go.
Yes, Nitya Kishore Mataji.
Kanchi Gunol Lasachronim Hridayambojavistaram Darshaniyathamam Santam Mano Nayanavardhanam.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, this particular verse describes that he is most charming to look at. Like if you want to see any object, then his darshan is the topmost object that you can have in your vision. Whatever your eyes can see, then the topmost object is the Supreme Lord. He completely pacifies our eyes and our mind, whoever sees him. He stands on the lotus of his devotee's heart, his hips and encircled by a girdle like a waistband on his pitambar. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, while glorifying Lord Narayan's different paraphernalia, has described a very sweet talk between girdle, pitambara, garland, and bees. So, I'll just narrate this conversation between all the paraphernalia of the Lord. So, I'll keep my cursor so that it will be more connecting for you. So, the Pitambar says, I am so close to the Lord. But the girdle says, you are very close to the Lord, but I am on top of you. Next, the garland says, I am even on top of you. So the garland is on top of both the dhoti as well as the girdle. Now enters the honeybees. Here we can see honeybees. They say, I actually own the honey coming out of flowers from the garland. So here we can see that the conversation between different paraphernalia and between like garland, girdle, pitambar, and honeybees. And he is the most perfect object of vision for anyone. So that is that was explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So we are going to move next to the 17th verse, last two verses. So anybody can unmute and can recite.
अपि च दर्शनं शश्वत् सर्वलोकनमस्कृतं सन्तं वयसि कैशोरे भृत्यानुग्रहकातरम्.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So here we see that he is worshipable for all the inhabitants of every planet, and he is eternally very beautiful. He is eternally situated in youth and the boyhood. He is very eager to bestow his blessings upon his devotees, and he is very eagerly looking forward to bestow his mercy. Like when this being will turn to him and focus on him so that he becomes receiver of his mercy, and then that the devotees can be taken back to Godhead. The last verse that devotees can recite. This is the last verse in Dharana stage.
कीर्तन्यतीर्थयशसं पुण्यश्लोक यशस्करं ध्यायेद्देवं ग्राङ्गं यावन्न च्यवते मनः.
Thank you, Sundari Sakhi Mataji. So here we see that his glories are always worth singing. There is nothing else that is worth singing in this world. It is only the Supreme Lord's glories which are worth singing. His glories enhance the glories of his devotees. One should meditate upon all his limbs until the mind becomes completely fixed. Now, the yogi just started to meditate on this stage in dharana. In this stage, he is not having a lot of absorption, so he cannot go into details. He's just started the meditation and he has to meditate the overall form of the Lord. In this stage, he doesn't have any ability to go into detail of the Lord's form. And in this stage, there are going to be some efforts while meditating. So we are going towards the next part, that is from 19 to 33rd verse. And here it is talking about dhyana or meditation on individual limbs of the Lord. So if we see properly, then in this dhyana stage, what he should not be stopped on overall form. He will be magnifying or zooming and seeing the individual limbs and gradually make his mind more absorbed on the individual limbs of the Lord. So I will recite because it has a different meter. This is verse 21. Sanjitayed bhagavatascharanarvindam vajrankushadhvaja saroru. I just forgot the meter. Just once again. Sanchitayed bhagavatascharanarvindam vajrankushadhvaja uttunga rakta vilasannakha chakravala jyotsna berahta mahadhridayandhakaram. So, in the first stage of dhyana, the yogi will start meditating upon the lotus feet of the Lord. So, this is how we are supposed to take the darshan of the Supreme Lord, starting from the lotus feet up to his lotus face. So, Lord Kapila is also teaching us in this how to take darshan of the Lord. The lotus feet is marked with thunderbolt, gourd, lotus, flag. Then the splendor of his ruby nails are described that resembles the orbit of the moon. And they are reddish, but also bright as moon. So I'll go to the next. यच्चौच निःसृतशरितप्रवारोदकेन तीर्थेन मूर्धने अधिकृतेन शिवा शिवोऽभूत् ध्यातुर्मनश्शमलाशैलनिःसृष्टवज्रं ध्याये चिरं भगवतश्चरणारविन्दम्. So this is the 22nd verse. So here it is mentioned that the holy waters that wash the lotus feet is the Ganges water. And Lord Shiva becomes more blessed by bearing on his head this holy water that is the Ganges. Lord Shiva, who is already auspicious, he becomes even more auspicious by holding this water that has washed the lotus feet of the Lord. We will go to the next. जानुद्वयं जलजालोचनय जनन्या लक्ष्म्याखिलस्य सुरवन्दितय विदतु ऊर्वोर्निधाय करपल्लवरोचिषायत् संलालितं हृदविभोर अभवस्य कुर्यात्. So here we see that Lord Kapila is describing the calf of the Supreme Lord. So what are the glories of his legs? So we always see that the legs which are always massaged by goddess of fortune, that is Lakshmi Devi, the whole world is after Lakshmi Devi. But the goddess of fortune is actually meditating upon the lotus feet of the Lord. She's always massaging the lotus feet of the Lord. So we need to take the inspiration from our Supreme Mother to serve our Supreme Lord carefully. We'll go to the next. Uru Suparna Bhujayoradhisobhamanau Ojo Nidhiyatashika Kusumavabhasau Vyalam Bipita Varavasasi Vartamana Kanchi Kalapa Parirambi Nitamba Bimbam. So in verse 24, we see that after calves, the yogi can meditate upon Lord's thighs. And these thighs appears to be most beautiful when the Lord is on the Garuda shoulders. These thighs are more prominent when Lord sits on the Garuda's shoulders. These thighs are the storehouse of the energy, as it was mentioned in the translation. And the yogi must meditate upon Lord's rounded hips, which are encircled by the girdle that rests on the exquisite yellow silk cloth, which extends down to his ankles. We are moving towards the next meditation limb. Nabhiridam bhuvanakosha guhadarastham yatratmayo nidisanakhila loka padmam vyudam harinmanivrishyastanayoramushya dhyayedyayam vishadahara mayukha gauram. So here we are talking about meditating upon Lord's navel, which is moon-like. The navel of Supreme Lord is the foundation of the entire universe, containing all the different planetary system. And the yogi should also meditate upon Lord's nipples, which resembles a pair of emeralds. Next, Bhakshodhivasam Rishabhasya Mahavibhute Pumsa Manonayana Nivritim Adadhanam Kantam Chakausubha Manera Adhibhushanartham Kurya Manasyakhila Loka Namaskritasya. So this is the 26 words, and now uh, let's go towards the chest, which is the abode of goddess Mahalakshmi. So the Lord's chest is the source of pleasure for the mind, and it gives full satisfaction to the eyes. So let's meditate upon the neck of the Supreme Lord. So even in Damodar Ashtakam, if like all devotees know that it is mentioned how the Lord's neck has three lines on his neck, like conch shell. You may be remembering the line in Damodar Ashtakam. Muhushwasa patri rekha ka kantha stita graivam damodaram bhakti baddham. So in that it is mentioned that Lord's neck has three lines. In the famous bhajan it is already mentioned. So here we see about Kaustuba Mani, and the Supreme Lord's neck enhances the beauty of Kaustuba gem, which is on his chest. So generally, we see all around the world, like even me, people wear jewelry to beautify themselves. But in Lord's case, the Kaustuba gem is beautified when it is on the chest of the Lord, of the Supreme Lord. And that's how beautiful is the Lord's neck. So, next, the 27th verse. बाहुंश्च मन्दरगिरे परिवर्तनेन निर्निक्तबाहुवलयानधिलोकपालान् सञ्चितये दासशतरामाशयतेज शङ्खं च तत्करा सरोरुहराजहंसम्. So this is the 27th verse. Here the Lord's arms are described. The arms are described here as the source of all powers of the demigods. And these demigods, they control different natures, functions, but the source is Supreme Lord's arms. The conch is in his hands. We can see Sudarshan Chakra, and he holds Kaumadaki club through which he smashes the demons. Next, in verse 28, we see that the white pearl necklace that Supreme Lord is wearing represents all the pure living entities who are always engaged in his devotional service. And this mala, the garland, is always surrounded by bumblebees. The garland, it is always surrounded by bumblebees with their nice buzzing sounds. In verse 29 and 30, it is mentioned that the yogi can now meditate upon the lotus face of the Lord. And the Lord presents his different forms in this world out of compassion for anxious devotees. Here we see his nose is prominent. We can see his cheeks, his earrings. His lotus face is adorned with curly hair and is decorated by lotus-like eyes and dancing eyebrows. Next, in 32nd verse, I'll just recite. Hasam harera vanata kila loka tivra shoka shrusa gara vishusanam atyudaram sammohanaya rachitam nija maya yasya bhrumandalam munikrita makara dvajasya. So this is the 32nd verse. The yogi should be meditating upon the smile of the Supreme Lord. The smile of the Supreme Lord has the potential that dries away the ocean of tears that is caused by intense grief. So an ocean, so over many lifetimes, the living entities' tears have formed that ocean that they shed. So if that is collected, then it will fill a ocean. And that amount of grief is taken away when we meditate upon the smile of the Lord. So the yogi should also meditate upon the eyebrows of the Lord to charm the Cupid for good of sages. If we meditate upon the eyebrows of the Supreme Lord, we won't be agitated by the sexual impulses. It is said that the Lord's eyebrows looks like a bow. So the bow of the Cupid will lose all its effect if we meditate on the bow-like eyebrows on the lotus face of the Lord. We have few more verses. I think this is the last one. So here it says that the Lord's laughter is so captivating that it can be easily meditated upon. The small teeth that resembles the jasmine birds when he smiles and they are rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. Once devoting his mind to this, the yogi will no longer desire to see anything else. The personal beauty of the Lord is so captivating that even an atheist, even a person who has no idea about God, even he can meditate upon the beauty of the Lord. So we can see like this is how a yogi should meditate upon from like the lotus feet up to the lotus face. And in this way, when he meditates, we can see that he gradually develops love for the Supreme Lord. And then he starts exhibiting symptoms like hair standing on ends and tears rolling, and gradually he withdraws his mind from all material activities. So this was till dhyana stage. So from verse 34 to 38, we see the liberation of yogi and his state of mind. So by meditating, one gradually develops love for the Lord. And here we can see the mind is a hook. So here I have placed a hook. And we got to be intelligent enough to hook our minds in spiritual activities. These are the spiritual activities. We have to hook our mind in spiritual activities. And gradually one withdraws his hook-like mind from all the material activities. Supreme Lord is present and will definitely deliver us. So a yogi's mind that is detached from material contamination is like a flame of lamp. And when the mind is detached, the yogi is transcendental to all the happiness and distress. He goes beyond the dualities of life. So the example given in one of the verses is that is that of the drunken person. And now here we see what is the similarity. The drunken person is not at all aware of his body. He is unaware of his body. So similarly, you will see yogi, in spite of living in his body, he's completely unaware of his body. And even if the yogi is in his body, he's not in the body, as he's completely detached. He's completely focused on the Supreme Lord. And focus is the difference here. On one hand, we see drunkard is focused on alcohol, whereas yogi that is focused on Lord can actually be delivered. So Srila Prabhupada compares an advanced devotee's spiritual body to a dry coconut, stating that just as a dry coconut is detached from the coconut husk, even though residing within it, a devotee's body is not connected to the material body, but rather resides within a spiritualized form. So here Srila Prabhupada is comparing the advanced devotee's spiritual body to a dry coconut. Next, we will see in the verses that yogi will see super soul in all beings. The yogi will see super soul in all the beings and all the beings in super soul. And that is the main thought process. He mainly thinks of super soul always. So, one second. So, from the purports of Srila Prabhupada, it is stated that not only does the Supreme Soul enter each and every universe, but he enters even the atoms. So the Supreme Soul is present everywhere in the dormant stage. And when one can see the presence of the Supreme Soul everywhere, one is liberated from the material designations. So I just wanted to ask you, like after ending this chapter, there is a interesting question coming up. So is devotional service higher than meditational practice? So I just wanted if devotees can speak up and can give their opinions, because we have seen the meditational practice so far, Bhakti Mishra Ashtang Yogi. So I wanted to know, like, whatever we are practicing, the devotional service, is it higher than meditational practice?
I can go, Mataji.
Yes,
It
Prabhuji.
it can be higher only if we are meditating on the Lord while doing the service. If we are meditating on ourselves, then it is a karmic activity. It is a devotional activity if we are meditating on the Lord while doing the service.
Okay, perfect, Prabhuji. If you are meditating upon the Lord while doing devotional service, then that can be higher than the meditational practice.
Yes,
I
Mataji.
agree with you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Anybody else wants to talk on this?
Yeah, I'd like to share my thoughts. It's very similar to what Gaurakumar Prabhu mentioned. Now, bhakti is, on one hand, it is said that it is higher than all other processes, right? So,
Yeah.
bhakti is higher than all other processes, but the sadhaka bhakta may not be there yet. So, that is what we need to understand. Like, bhakti is great, uh,
Mhm.
definitely. Now, Chaitanya Sharan Prabhu gives a very nice example when he compares the yoga ladder. So we
Mhm.
often say that bhakti is like an elevator. It takes you swiftly to the most complete realization of God. And then all these other yoga systems are like staircases. So if you go on a staircase or a ladder, you will be much slower than if you go in an elevator. Now the
Mhm.
interesting thing here to note is an Ashtanga yogi who is, let's say, so let's just consider like a hypothetical four steps, okay? And beyond the fourth step is the pure devotional service, like perhaps Lord's personal form. Now, the Ashtanga yogi is on the third step of that ladder. And then the Bhakti yogi, now the Bhakti yogi may be practicing the tenets of sadhana, but he may be in the elevator. There is another elevator that takes you through all these four floors, like directly. Now, he may be in that elevator, but at any given point of time, an Ashtanga yogi may be on the third step, and the Bhakti yogi, who is on an elevator, could be on maybe the first step or the second step, and things like that. So that way, it depends again. It depends on how much absorption with which we are doing our sadhana practices and all that. But then one thing is for sure that the rate of advancement for a sadhaka is quicker than for any other jnani or karma yogi, jnana yogi, or an ashtanga yogi. So that is what everybody accepts. All acharyas, everyone accepts that the progress is swift, right? But at any given point of time, somebody may be in the elevator, but maybe on the lower levels of the building. So as compared to someone who is on the staircase, but maybe on the higher levels of the building. So like that. I don't
Okay.
know if I made it complicated. Sorry.
No. Yes, Prabhu, very nicely explained by you, especially with an example, it simplifies. So yeah, it was a very simple and a very nice answer. So thank you, Prabhu. Anybody else would like to say?
I have a point to share. I actually
Mhm.
have 2 points. First
Mhm.
of all, I want to say that I just loved your class, the presentation, and throughout the class, I was meditating, well, not meditating, but just contemplating that what is the difference um, between both the things, and eventually the question also came up. So I just have 2 points, and I would really want if someone can just tell me if this is right or not. So one point what I was thinking was um, that that meditation is like meditation helps control one's mind, and I feel that controlling the mind is it's just a tool, but ultimately loving and serving the Lord is the ultimate goal. So tools are just, you know, tools are just meant to serve the goal and not the other way around. So this is one point, and another point was that wait, let me remember my another point. Um, oh, I just forgot my second point. Wait. Okay, I'll just give it in terms of an example that just like knowing a person's photo or a voice it's very limited, while knowing the whole person is itself complete. So bhakti also connects to the full personality of God, while just meditation and meditation connects only to a part.
Okay.
Am I able to deliver it properly? I don't know.
Yes, Mataji. Absolutely. Like I was very much amazed with your answer. So the first point you said, like tools are meant to serve the goal. And the
Yes,
second point you mentioned was like bhakti fully connects to the full personality of the God, and meditation will only connect to the part that
correct.
will be connected. So very
Thank you.
nice answer. So I completely agree. I share the same view. So yes, any more devotees want to speak, or I can give you the answer given by Srila Prabhupada directly. Okay, so I'm just moving forward. So here, Srila Prabhupada, in his purports, he has mentioned, it is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust. But this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul, for this satisfaction is derived only from devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we see in this purpose, like Srila Prabhupada has also clearly stated that devotional service is higher than meditation. I got one more purpose I would just like to share. So I have made it into bold. I have highlighted these particular statements. In the beginning, the mind is employed in attracting the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in the higher stages, there is no question of using the mind. The next highlighted is the yoga principles of meditation are required as long as one is not situated in pure devotional service. So, as Gaur Kumar Prabhu, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, they rightly said, like, if you are not situated in pure devotional service, uh, the yoga principles of meditation are required as long as one is not situated in the pure devotional service. The next one is one becomes so habituated that he automatically engages in the personal service of the Lord. So the one in red, actually gives us the clear-cut answer. Since the meditation recommended in the lower stages is a means to come to the platform of devotional service, those already engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord are above, second, are above such meditation. So here he is saying that those who are already engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord are above such meditation. And this stage of perfection is called Krishna consciousness. So, yeah, I mean, again, I would like to mention that Srila Prabhupada has clearly stated that devotional service is higher than the meditation, especially when we do the devotional service keeping Lord in the center and not ourselves in the center. So, thank you, dear devotees. I will just like to tell what is going to be there in the next chapter. So, in the next chapter, we will see how Devahuti asks more questions about bhakti. Now she will start asking about bhakti. And Lord Kapil Dev has explained about now Sankhya and Yoga system so far. Devahuti will direct her attention back to the process of bhakti. So she was curious to know about Sankhya, Yoga, and other processes, but deep in her heart, she wanted to know. Like she was curious to know about Sankhya and Yoga, but she actually wanted to practice bhakti. So, in reply, Lord Kapila will answer on pure devotional service and three gunas. So, these are the things we will cover in the next chapter. So, this is how I end my class. So, thank you everyone for joining. So,
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. A very well thought out class. You put so much effort in the preparation, and it was clearly evident from the wonderful class that you gave. And very nice questions you asked, and the discussions came from them. And yeah, I also loved the way devotees recited the verses, the way you explained those verses, and you also recited so many beautiful verses describing the form of the Lord. Yeah, very nice. It's very interesting that this theme of taking darshan, right? This theme of taking darshan of the Lord, starting from the lotus feet, it it's famously done by Kunti Maharani, and Prabhupada writes in that famous purport that this is how we have to take darshan of the Lord. Kunti Maharani also starts seeing the Lord from his waist part, navel actually. She doesn't see all the way to the feet because she's senior to him in terms of the social system. Like she's his aunt. So, but then Prabhupada writes in the purport that this is the way you take darshan, and Kunti Maharani is demonstrating that. Interestingly, in the second canto, when Shukdev Goswami is describing the universal form of the Lord, the Virat Rupa, that time also he starts describing from the lotus feet of the Lord. He says how the lotus feet of the Lord are these and these things in the world. Then he comes to the, calves and thighs and, hips and that way. So very interesting theme across various cantos and various devotees describing the Lord. So, but yeah, thank you very much. Very, very beautiful class, as I said. And yeah, looking forward for more as well. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, dear Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity, particularly this chapter. So I'll take more and more such opportunities in future. And thank you for giving so many examples. You are a person who always adds on to what is already there. So that is something, it's like a garnishing. So thank you, Prabhuji, for always filling the gaps and giving various examples. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So thank you, Mother. Yeah, a lot of it is speculation sometimes. So yeah, anyway, it's just devotee's mercy, whatever I'm able to do. But yeah, I was also going to say it's such a nice coincidence that you, being a yogi yourself, got this section about Bhakti Mishra Yoga. So yeah, it's a nice coincidence, and this has happened in the past a couple of times when devotees have received those sections which they are very passionate about, and they love those particular themes within Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Haribol, Ashwarya Mataji, like this is one of the finest presentation slides I've ever seen. Very, very engaging, very interactive. And your pace at which you were speaking, like the depth and pause that you were giving, there was no jabbering. It was, and that's something, that's one quality that I'm trying to develop. So I was very much in admiration of your presentation. And obviously the topic and the way you presented was extremely nectarian. Um, Definitely I'm requesting you to like take up more and give more classes. Thank you very much.
Thank
Hare
you. Thank
Krishna.
you.
So,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Yeah, Vishwarya Mataji, amazing class actually. It was one to what Lekha and Jagannath Gopal Prabhu said. I really like the flow of the class, the tone and the pause, and like every the flow of the overall flow of the class was very engaging, very insightful class. And I really like the point that Jagannath Gopal Prabhu and Gaur Kumar Prabhu mentioned, that yeah, it's important to understand that like Bhakti Yoga is highest, but sadhaka may or may not be there. And in that humble mood, right, we try to practice Bhakti. So thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah, looking forward to more classes from you.
Yes,
Hare Krishna.
thank you, Prabhuji, and thank you, Mataji, Lekha Mataji. So I also come from a background where it was taught to us that you choose yoga path as per your nature. This was there in our syllabus. Like if you're intelligent, you choose Gyan Yoga. If you're emotional, you choose Bhakti Yoga. But after studying, because I was given this opportunity to go through the chapter, I actually realized slowly that Bhakti Yoga is topmost, and every other yoga path culminates in Bhakti Yoga. So this was the kind of small awareness that I got while studying. So thank you all of you for listening and giving me opportunity. Thank you everyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I just wanted to appreciate the amount of effort that has gone in preparing for this class. I right from the beginning you started talking about the previous speakers and the nice recap and also what comes in the next chapter. And then the entire flow of this chapter was very, very nicely done with the slides and the bumblebees and the explaining of the form of the Lord and very, very you completely captured our attention, Mataji. Very nicely described and the questions that you asked. I also appreciate the humility that you had. You would ask questions, and even if you gave wrong answers, you would say, "Oh, correct, correct, perfect, perfect." That is so sweet. So thank you so much for everything. It was like excellent class. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Always you're encouraging. And I took guidance for this class from Nitya Kishori Mataji, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, Nadia Kishore Prabhu. So, and even YouTube videos, etc. So, everyone has helped me to do this, whatever I could present. So, all the credits to all the devotees, in fact. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I was there only for the last 30 minutes, but I really enjoyed the last 30 minutes. You know, you know, all your slides and all your explanations were so nice. So thank you so much. And also you created nice discussion topics. You know, you asked nice questions. So really appreciate all the all the preparation that you did, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for all your wonderful words. And definitely, I will put in more efforts in next coming lectures. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna, Aishwarya.
Yes,
Very
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
beautiful class. I really liked how you draw parallels between the eight limbs of Ashtanga Yoga with Navavida Bhakti and yeah, how took us from Yama Niyama to all the way to the topmost ladder of that path of Ashtanga Yoga. Very nicely uh, you know analyzed chapter, and as everybody said, as Jagannath Gopal Prabhu also mentioned, it is very apt for you become, because you're a yogi yourself, and this I could tell that you are totally in your element when you were explaining the slides. The slides were very, like you said, it was very simple, very beautifully, slowly explained, and your pronunciation of Sanskrit in that meter was excellent. I was like really taken aback of like how you were able to just fluently read those slokas. Um, I was very pleasantly surprised about a lot of things that you initially said, oh, I've never given a class and this and that, and this, like, you knocked it out of the park, actually. Really, really amazing class. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Nitya Kishori Mataji. So yes, all of the guidance that you had given me really worked well. So about the meter, yes, I tried somehow. It was in broken Sanskrit. I was not that much satisfied, but yes, maybe with practice, I can do well. And I felt like all the things in my head is little bit getting more and more organized after sharing it with devotees. So there was a lot of learning and unlearning that has happened within me. So it was a transformatory experience for me. And thank you, Mataji, for all your guidance, how to take up the class, how to start, etc. And you also told me before the class, take blessings of Guru Maharaj and Supreme Personality of Godhead. So like it really helped, Mataji. It really helped me. Thank you so
That's
much.
a drop in the ocean to considering what you did. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this was such an amazing class. All the slides were so beautiful. I really loved it. And I also like I could see like the way you are a teacher at heart. So it was feeling like I just want to sit and listen, just keep listening to this. Just wanted to say like please give more classes. You should also give Krishna House classes. This was amazing.
Okay, thank you, Soam Prabhu. Yes, I don't know about Krishna House class. That will be more scary for me, I think, in front of everyone face to face. But definitely, I'll start getting more courage in more taking more Tuesday classes, and I'll keep on taking inspiration from you all. Thank you, Soam Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. So Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, can we end the meeting?
Yes, just before that, any announcements, Gaur Kumar Prabhu?
No, no announcements.
Okay, okay, yeah. All good then, yeah. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय हर ग्रेस ऐश्वर्या माता जी की जय
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.